Hey everybody, how are you? And welcome back for another edition of GregRBaird Speak for this week. And today we're going to talk about questions. You ever see this book? I love this book, especially it's really great during parties. So it's called The Book of Questions, but it's not about the book today. It's all about the questions I get asked during my lecture program over the course of the last few years. I've written down a lot of the questions that get asked all the time. Some currently, some from a long time ago. I have been speaking for a total of 29 years. I all started in college, and professionally, full-time since 2003, since I've been here in Chicago, and it's been a really great and wonderful thing. So you're going to hear about the questions today. I'm going to answer them for you on this special edition of GregRBaird Speaks. Welcome back, everybody. I'm so glad you could join me today. And yes, here are these lovely questions that I've come up with and that I've written down over the course of the last 29 years. A lot of things that get asked to me, and I thought it'd be a great Q&A today to ask any kind of questions. So you can do that by commenting, and if you have a question for me that I can answer down the road, that I can respond back to you, I would love that. Of course, remember to subscribe. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and share. I like to hear your comments. I like to have you pass on the good information. So anyway, here we are. Like I said, I've been speaking for 29 years on LGBTQ, civil rights, equity, diversity, inclusion, all sorts of stuff, anti-hate, anti-bullying. So I get asked a lot of questions, and the Q&A part of my program is one of my favorites because it gives me a chance to interact with a crowd. Now, occasionally, if somebody's uncomfortable about being vocal during the Q&A part, they can come up to me afterwards. I get a lot of hugs, a lot of handshakes, pictures and stuff afterwards, and of course the questions. So without further ado, here's what I've written down and I've gotten over the course of the last several years. So when did you begin speaking? I began speaking, like I said, 29 years ago. I went to school at Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and belonged to, it was known as a gay group at the time, not an LGBTQ plus group, but it was called, oh my gosh, it was a student support group, GLASS, Gay Lesbian Association for Student Support. Whew, pull that out. And it was political and social, so we had 2 meetings during the week. And I was the social director. I know that's a complete newsflash, but part of the group. And one of the things is we would go and speak to like classrooms and things like that, and to residence halls. And since I was the token gay guy with a boyfriend at the time, James and I would go and speak at residence halls. And you never knew what you were going to find when you spoke. And that's how it all began. Has your message changed over the years? Oh yeah, my message changes almost yearly. So when I first started, it was a lot about coming out issues. It was extremely important. Coming out, how did my parents react, friends, family, work, all that kind of stuff. Now, not a big hot topic, although I have a really great coming out story. A lot of people just don't want to hear the coming out stories anymore because they've heard them over the years. So now, as things have evolved in our world, in our country, I talk a lot about gender issues, transgender issues, immigration, anti-hate, especially right now, and also now talking about a lot of non-binary and the state of the world. The laws are being passed against the drag queens and the general LGBTQ plus community. So it has changed over the years. What was my best and worst lecture experience? Oh my gosh. The best lecture experience, we'll start with the good stuff first. The best lecture experience I had is when I worked at North Central Michigan College in Petoskey, Michigan for 7 years. When I left there, I was invited to come back and speak. And that was really great because a lot of my colleagues, people in the community that have known me for a long, long time, came, and my aunt was there, just extended family, chosen family, and it was a pretty packed house, and it was very moving to me. I even got choked up at one point in the lecture, and a lot of people wanted to say hello and have pictures with me, and it was just it was just a wonderful event. The other one that I thought was really good that I had is I spoke here after gay marriage was shot down, the Prop 8, and I spoke here in Chicago downtown in front of 5,000 people. That was amazing experience. So I've had some really good times speaking all over the country, but those two, along with several others, but going back to my old college, was really important and lovely to me. Worst experience, oh my goodness. Worst experience, I remember I got booked at a school in Wisconsin, way up north in Wisconsin, and they had advertised, this was back in the day when you just advertised by putting a flyer or poster up or inviting people from a classroom, and they invited people through publications in the hallway of the main building where the auditorium was at. Well, I don't know, a few days or 4 days before the event, those posters were all taken down because they were repainting the hallways, so nobody found out about the lecture. So I drove probably 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours north to speak at an event that only 7 people were at because people didn't know. That was not a very good experience. And I had one down in South Georgia where the event was sabotaged by the janitor and a few other people by tearing down the posters, and they moved the event because it wasn't going to be in one auditorium, it was going to be in another. They made the best out of a bad situation, and so did I, but it was an event that I'll never forget because it was just, I don't want to say a comedy of errors, but I really felt bad for the LGBT group that was trying to do something great for the community, and it just didn't pull it off as good as it could have been. So, there you go. What celebrities have I met? Well, you can probably see a few in the background here in my work, but I've met celebrities over the course of my career, either with the lecture series I did at North Central Michigan College or my advocacy work and things like that. So, not to be a name dropper, but I will tell you some of the big celebs I met is I worked with Meryl Streep's children at a summer camp at Camp Sloan in Lakeville, Connecticut, and that was great. I had probably about 5 to 10 minutes with Meryl because I was working with her kids, and they were day campers, and they came and they were dropped off. So Henry Gummer, which is now Henry Wolf, he's a musician, and Mamie Gummer, who's an actress as well, beautiful. She actually went to school in Northwestern in Evanston. So they were students of mine for a short period of time, and great. And Meryl was a super mom. She was wonderful. Alan Cummings I met here through my friend Lance Horn, and Alan was absolutely wonderful. Hung out with him, saw him in a show here, went backstage with a bunch of people, partied with him after. It was a good time. James Earl Jones I have met in the course of a lecture series. There's just some Lady Gaga I met at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. So, yeah. So I could go on and on and on. So, not the big name dropper, but those are some of the celebrities I have met. I get asked that all the time. Have you ever had anyone protest at your lectures? I have had a couple times somebody protested. If you're familiar with the Westboro Baptist Church folks from Topeka, Kansas, they were protesting a lecture I had at the University of Louisiana, which is in Baton Rouge, the University of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was booked down there. And I remember when I got picked up at the airport in a van, the young president of the gay group, a young man, said to me, Mr. Baird, I got something to tell you. He goes, when you're speaking today, you're going to have to cross a picket line to come to the event. And I said, oh. I go, well, free advertising. He was all nervous. And I said, do you know who they are? Are they local or whatever? And he said, no, they are the Westboro Baptist Church people, from Topeka, Kansas, the Phelps family. I'm like, oh, they've come to my lectures before a couple of times. They have protested. You just ignore them. Well, when we got to the campus, the auditorium was kind of up on a hill and in a roundabout, and I had to walk through the protest line. Well, he scooted up and got through them and kind of left me hanging there, and I was like, oh, great. So I went up to Shirley Phelps, who was protesting there, and there was probably 20 or so, and they were protesting about me being there. And I go, what's going on here? And she said, oh, they're having some homosexual in here. She said in another term. Come here and speak, and they're using student money to come speak on campus. And I said, oh, really? I go, wow, what else can you know? I go, well, what does he talk about? And he goes, oh, gay stuff. They're all going to hell. So they didn't even know it was me that they're protesting against. So again, it brought some more people into the realm when I was talking with Shirley. And all I said, I'm giving you a short version of this. I said, well, have a good protest. And I said, by the way, next time you're protesting about somebody, make sure you know who you're protesting against. And she looked at me really funny. I go, I'm that guy. God bless you. And I walked through the protest line. And the LGBT group was just applauding. They were like, how did you do that? So, yeah, that was, and I've had other people show up every once in a while that want to give me, it's always based on the Bible or some verse. Usually it's Adam and Eve. God didn't make Adam and Steve. He made Adam and Eve. And the other one is the Sodom and Gomorrah story. And I could go on about that. So anyway, that was it. I think I have to look at, I have two of these, right. Am I single? I get asked that all the time. Yes, I am. In the course of the years I've been doing this, I've had one boyfriend that I was dating at the time came to my lecture program, and that was great. That was in 2006, and I was so honored to have him there. But yep, currently single. I'm not dating. Dated currently for a short period of time. Didn't work out. So I'm back on the fence again. So anyway, yeah. So I'm put that out there for all you single fellas out there. Are you close with your brother? Many of you may not know this, but my brother and I are both adopted. We're both adopted from different families, and we're both gay. Yep, you heard it first here. So my brother and I were not very close growing up. We're just A and Z. He's more quiet, reserved, doesn't like a shift in his routine at times. And I have a lot of respect for him because he's taking care of our father, who's 94, that has dementia. Well, anyway, once we found out that each other was gay, which was right around 1994 or 5, long story for another time, we've gotten closer, and actually we've gotten more closer since he's been taking care of our father. And I just talked to him about a half hour ago. Usually talk to my dad and my brother on a Friday, and we laugh. There's been a lot of healing from our family, which was a little bit crazy and checked out and not full of love and stuff. So we've made it through really good, but we end up talking about different stories and experiences that we have, and just basically what's going on in our lives. So I really appreciate him and his humor. It's good. Favorite lecture gig you ever had? I think I probably said that. Best and worst lecture experience. Favorite lecture gig was up north in northern Michigan, and one downtown Chicago. I had a really great one in northern Wisconsin, and I can't think of the name of the school, but they did everything. It was on coming out day. Can't think of the name of the school. It was years and years ago, but it was a school right near Lake Superior in Wisconsin, so it was beautiful. But they were great. It was National Coming Out Day, and they did a bunch of chalk drawings on the sidewalk for Coming Out Day. They got all their friends together. It was a packed house, packed. It was staying room only when I got there, and it was such a great event. They were lovely. They were wonderful. Took me out for lunch. And then following the lecture, we had some nosh and a drink, and just good people. And I really appreciate that. That was a long time ago. I'm saying it was probably around 2005 I was there. Maybe later. What do you think about the current situation for the LGBTQ plus community? I think it's absolutely horrible. We have a history in our country and around the globe of discrimination, and what we're doing right now to the LGBTQ plus community, drag queens, the non-binary community, with passing a lot of these laws, and some of them are pending, is horrible. And we need to come together, and we need to celebrate the diversity of everybody in our communities. And I just get so frustrated with these laws when they could be spending so much time on positive things for everybody. We live in a world where we should all be embraced with our all different unique backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, diversity, gender, everything else. We need to embrace that and learn from one another. And apparently we need to spend useless time with useless conversations about pending laws against people in our community. And I just see a lot of these things affecting our LGBTQ plus youth. Bullying has gone through the roof again, hate crimes and things like that. So we all need to come together. I want to see more rallies. I want to see more rallies coming up so we can all be together and protest against. And our allies need to come together more with us and support us on this fight. You would think things are getting better. I get asked that all the time. Are things getting better? I think on some things, yes, and some things, no. And I get really frustrated because it seems like for every 10 steps we go ahead, we get knocked down about 5, and we got to persevere. You know, the LGBTQ plus community has been through tragedy and discrimination forever, longer than my lifetime, and we need to make all our lives better and celebrate the diversity, equity, and inclusion of all communities. So that's how I feel about that. And lastly, what do I do in my free time? Well, I enjoy going to the movies. I have a small seasoning business on the side. Yeah, it's a shameless plug, called GregRBaird Seasoning. You can find online at GregRBaird.com. So I'll put it right here while we're talking. So GregRBaird.com. And it's just something I love to cook. I cook for myself. I cook for friends now and then. But I made some seasoning and it has grown into a small business. So right now I'm offering about 13 seasonings. That may go down a little bit more depending on sales and things. This kind of fluctuates. But yeah, I do that on the side. Some weeks, some months are better than others with sales. And some others are great. So anyway, movies. I enjoy going out with friends for a drink now and then, or good food, farmers markets. I enjoy working out and walking. I do a lot of walking. Register everything on my handy little watch here. Summers, I love going to the west side of Michigan to a place called Saugatuck Douglas and enjoy the beach and pools, travel. You know, when I'm broadcasting this, I'm about a week, maybe about a week and a half away from going to Palm Springs. I love going to Palm Springs. Just enjoy the friendships I have there and hanging out by the pool, and just, it's beautiful. It's peaceful and wonderful, and I like it. That's a little bit older gay crowd. So a lot of good shared experiences. So I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. So anyway, is some of the questions I get when I speak. Granted, there's a whole list more that I could do, but we're in a short period of time here, and I don't want to go on too long because you'll be clicking on something else, right? And that's how it works. So anyway, make sure you subscribe, do a thumbs up, and share the post. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad you could join me today. And all my info, everything you need to know, and where I am on social media is going to be on the next page here that you're going to see, or also listed below. But subscribe. I will talk to you soon. Have a great week and make lives better for everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.